welcome back to the internet's best reactions. Today, we're talking about the Hungarian Grand Prix. I did not expect to be here with a smile on my face coming off of the Hungarian Grand Prix, where it's very difficult to overtake, and expecting to talk about one of the craziest races we've seen in a very long time. Oh, I'm genuinely still recovering. I don't think I'll stop smiling this entire episode. It was incredible. Your reactions were amazing as well. So let's dive into them right now. Right, first up we have at Yash_Mahamouni26 raining at the start. Now, of course, coming into this Grand Prix weekend, it said Sunday. A little bit of rain, but we know, as F1 fans, we don't believe that, do we? We don't take any notice of that until we actually get on the grid. It's 2 PM or whatever local time it is for you, and the lights go out. If the track is wet, then that's when we believe that there's going to be a rainy weekend. So until then, fine. I mean, even an hour before, saying, there's rain in 15 minutes, rain in half an hour, it's going to be here for the race. I didn't believe it. I didn't allow myself to believe it because I knew I'd just get let down. But the rain came, and it provided chaos. And that chaos was Valtteri Bottas, basically. At Dayav07, Secret Agent Bottas strikes again. Now, of course, he got a pretty rubbish start, didn't he, old Valtteri Bottas from P2 on the grid, was falling back. Lando had an absolute worldie of a start, was up to P3 going down towards turn 1. Very close to being sandwiched was Bottas between the Red Bull on the left and the McLaren on the right, but just about managed to get out of it. And at that point, you're thinking, good driving from Valtteri, until he doesn't brake. Until he doesn't brake till almost gone 100 metres to the corner, and everyone else is decelerating, just go straight into the back of Norris. And then, there are so many memes, we'll dive into them now. At Tilkend, Bottas taking out half the grid in one turn. That picture, oh, I love that picture so much. He wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one to make a mistake. Of course, Stroll on the inside, wiping out Charles Leclerc, who then spun round Danny Rick as well. It was just carnage. In fact, I was going to tweet before the race begun, turn 1's going to be carnage, and I genuinely deleted it because I was like, you know what, I don't want to jinx it. It's going to be the cleanest thing ever, because whatever I say, the opposite happens. I thought maybe a little bit of carnage, a little nip here or someone drops down. Not what we had at turn 1 lap 1. That was just ridiculous. At Doctors Tanuki, Bottas at the start. There were a lot of bowling memes, a lot of strike memes, things like that. Another one at itsKrutak_Hully. Bottas taking out both Red Bulls, Toto and Lewis. And, of course, there were some brilliant gainers from this. One of them being Esteban Ocon at StephenLDN6. Ocon on board. He was kind of out of the top 10, wasn't he, Ocon, going towards turn 1, and then carnage ensued. He just stayed tight to the apex. Of course, right in front of him, he had Stroll wiping out the Ferrari, and he just came to it was very close to him getting caught up in that as well, but then just pops out of turn 1 in second place. Sebastian Vettel got the worst start in the world. I think he was about 15th going down towards turn 1, comes out P3. It was an F1 game sprint lobby, lap 1, and as much as I'm here for a bit of unexpectancy, that's not a word, unexpected results, whatever I'm trying to say, I like a little bit of, that was a bit of an instant, someone's dropped down. I wasn't a fan of that many people being taken out of contention. Of course, you had Verstappen being taken out of contention, Perez out of the race, Bottas, of course, causing it and out of the race, Norris out of the race. It was just, it left a little bit of a sour taste because I wanted to see what would unfold with all those drivers. Now, after that incident, of course, the red flag came out, so there was reparations, things that needed to be put back together, and of course that gave the likes of Verstappen an opportunity to try and fix his very broken car. The fact he even managed to finish the race was a miracle, and then everyone went out to start the race again, and Hamilton was the only one to go on the grid. At Polonium Boom, Hungarian GP during the start. It's so simple yet so effective, and it's so true as well. I can't believe that Lewis Hamilton was just sat there on the grid on intermediates. It's just baffling. At H1JJY, Hamilton on the start grid. It was one of the weirdest situations. Now, I'm old enough to have seen the whole debacle at Indianapolis when only 6 drivers started the race after the whole Michelin tyre gate and things like that. So I remember that and thinking that was strange. To see Hamilton, the only car on the grid on intermediates when it was sunny, it just blew my mind. At Price_Bex, Hamilton, the only one not to go into the pit. Just So obviously everyone pitted and didn't lose that much time to Hamilton, and then obviously Hamilton then just plummeted down to last. And at that point, I'm rubbing my hands, because of course I expected Hamilton to win by 3 laps. I think a lot of people did. All of his closest sort of title rivals, closest in terms of car performance, but they were all out of contention. He could have just strolled away for, a lap win easy. But then Mercedes made the strangest error I think we've seen them do, where, stay out, mate. It might be a dry track, but, just stick on the inters. Maybe they thought that, Hamilton thought that the weather would have been maybe a little bit changeable, but it wasn't. Now, with all of that kerfuffle with Lewis pitting, it actually gave us the hope of George Russell leading the race. At Mikel Utio, not a chance. And of course, that was because he basically just jumped a load of cars in the pits when he shouldn't have, and that the FIA basically said, no, you got to come back, because we all thought, oh my God, George has got a problem. He was about to lead the race. Why did he let him through before he led? Surely he could have just led the race for I don't know, half a turn and then let everyone through. But I'm glad George, of course, finished the race, because Williams got double points. But at one moment, I think we all thought that George had a problem. Now, this was a very real question we were all asking ourselves. At Michael MJTH, can you imagine if Russell gets his first points for Williams, but Latifi gets the podium? Latifi was just sat in P3 for a very long time. I think he had Tsunoda behind him, then it was Sainz perhaps. I mean, my brain is still trying to process what happened in this race, so forgive me if I miss out a certain incident, because it was ridiculous. But of course, Latifi allowed Vettel and Ocon to just drive off into the distance, because that Williams, at least in the hands of Nicholas Latifi, was just, there was no pace whatsoever. But with it being the Hungaroring, no one could get past. So those two just trotted off into the distance, and a Latifi podium was actually a reality for quite a long time. Now, of course, with Latifi being in such a good position, we heard a lovely radio message from George Russell, which, and this meme made me think, is this the case? At Aaron Go Shawk, George Russell's radio message with the subtle nod to Mercedes. It feels like both of them are trying to prove that they'd be the better second driver, I suppose, at Mercedes, although I say that Bottas didn't last one corner, but then he did take out both the Red Bulls. For any conspiracy theorists out there, he didn't do it on purpose. It's not like he knew the trajectory of where he should hit Norris so that then he could hit one of the Red Bulls and then Norris could hit the other. There's no way. He just made a mistake, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be punished, because he should be very much punished for that incident, but no, it wasn't on purpose. At Delotti47, everyone behind Latifi kind of, emphasises my point that Latifi had absolutely no pace, and the front two were like, thank you so much for being an amazing backmarker, but you don't have to let anyone through because it's not blue flags, because you're actually there in P3. Latifi did those two a solid, so I'm sure Ocon and Vettel might be getting him a drink or two. Now, this was during the race. At Math1910, 2010 Turkish Grand Prix, Vettel promotes diversity and inclusion through special helmet, finishes on the podium. 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, Vettel promotes diversity and inclusion through special shoes, and we almost thought maybe the win was on the cards this time. Of course, he gets a podium again. It's amazing to see Seb pushing this messaging as well. He's doing this, he's picking up litter, he's turning up to a marriage proposal. We just don't deserve Seb. For people that say it's PR stunts, you can just get in the bin, because I genuinely think Seb is one of the most kind-hearted human beings in the paddock. With all the craziness going on, at Matthew_Kawol, Netflix right now, I genuinely think Drive to Survive this year is going to have about 47 episodes. How on earth? We're only halfway through the season. How on earth are they going to pick content for 10 episodes of however 45 minutes, maybe less? They're gonna have to cram it in, because they struggled last time. This year's gonna be mental. If they miss out something like the Hungarian Grand Prix because they couldn't fit it in their 10 episode schedule, I'm gonna be raging. There was an interesting little radio conversation between Sainz and the Ferrari pit wall. Of course, Ferrari known for their sometimes strategy blunders in the past, let's put it, maybe mildly. At _Sainz to pit wall. Of course, the pit wall was saying, come in, you've got a pit, and Sainz was just taking it into his own hands, which is what I like to see. I like the driver input, and not just going all the time with what the team says and the data that's available to them. He's the driver, he knows exactly how much grip he's got left in his tyres, and fair play to Carlos. Now, throughout the entire race, of course, I've mentioned Vettel and Ocon just toodled off into the distance, but Sebastian Vettel was actually challenging for the lead against Esteban Ocon, who'd never won a race. Tommy, the founder of WTF1, said before this race, in the prediction for the WTF1 social media, he said that Vettel was going to win. And then when Vettel comes out of turn 1, P3 on lap 1, I'm thinking, my God, I need to know the lottery numbers from Tommy. Anyway, at Prad75S, Vettel challenging for the lead. Leading. I'm sure he meant lead, but here we go. So much nostalgia. It was amazing to see. And I didn't know who I wanted to win more, because obviously it'd be incredible to have Seb win a race in an Aston Martin after everything he's been through and, you know, the torrid times he had at Ferrari. But then on the other side, you've got Esteban Ocon, who's also an incredibly nice guy and never won an F1 race. I'm kind of more glad maybe that Esteban's won, because Seb has got 4 world titles, so I'll let Esteban have this one. Very briefly, we had Esteban Ocon's teammate, Fernando Alonso, leading the race at Fulf Ember, lap 39. Is this 2006? And genuinely, we'll get onto it, Fernando Alonso was incredible in this race. Absolutely faultless.
Who has won Tweet of the Week?
Right, Tweet of the Week time now. This made me laugh just purely because it's just simple but really effective and it's amazing. So congratulations to Eric_An94 winning this amazing Fanatec prize for... So Max, what's the balance limitation? It just made me chuckle. It's not always about the highest quality memes. It's what hits here, you know? It's what hits right in the feels. And this certainly did. So well done, Eric. You win an amazing Fanatec prize. Now, there was a stage in the middle of the race where Lewis was pushing really hard on those hard tyres, and there was conversations about, is he going to go on to a 2-stop? Are they bluffing and they're going to do a 1-stop? And actually, that's his pace. At Rachel here 001 is kind of what I thought was going to happen. Lewis complains about tyres. His tyres a lap later. He even said, I think, at one point that the tyres got second wind. And at this point, I think everyone's rolling their eyes going, oh, God, here we go. He's going to win the race now, isn't he? He's going to break Esteban Ocon or Sebastian Vettel's heart. But he went for the 2-stop, didn't he? And Fernando's a legend! This sums me up perfectly. At Pidger Wirastani, probably just completely butchered that, I'm sorry. Me watching this race from start to finish. I mean, I wasn't on that much of an uncomfortable chair, thankfully, but I was jumping about, I was screaming, oh my goodness me. I'm genuinely tired from the race, and I think I'll be going to bed very early, because... Whew, the podcast tomorrow is going to be good. At the Pickle Nugget, Esteban Ocon has now led more laps this year than Valtteri Bottas. That's it. That's the tweet. I don't think I really need to react to that very much. I think that says absolutely everything that a lot of people need to know. Okay, it's time to talk about Fernando Alonso versus Lewis Hamilton. It was nothing short of incredible. At Vec_Ez, Alonso defence on Hamilton. I genuinely could not stop smiling. I was wincing, I was screaming, I was jumping up and down. I think a lot of you will be able to relate because it was just so close, wasn't it? There was a time when they were side by side going down towards turn 4 and they genuinely touched going into it. And I'm thinking, where have these battles been? They haven't battled in over 10 years. And it is just something I want to see more of. And I think it showed as well that Fernando has absolutely still got it. Maybe he's lacking a little bit in the absolute raw speed. But in terms of racecraft, he did everything perfectly. Of course, he made that mistake eventually into turn 1. But to have kept Lewis Hamilton behind on fresher tyres in a better car was just unbelievable. And it won Esteban the race. Literally 1 lap less of defending, and I think Hamilton could have won it. Esteban owes Fernando a huge birthday present. Now, this is actually my runner-up for Tweet of the Week, and in fact, I think it's a double submission as well. At Tilkend, a true team effort. I don't know why anyone's made that picture anyway, but it's a brilliant meme, and it's so true. Hamilton was coming, and Alonso just stopped the charge, and not many drivers could have done that. At Alonso M84, Hungary 2021, lap 63. Very specific, thank you for that tweet. Signs. It's so true, isn't it? That also gives me the same vibes as Hamilton coming out of turn 1. And then I think we saw the rearview mirror on lap 1, turn 1, where he was just driving out, and then behind it was just carnage. Gives me the same vibes. And finally, on that battle, at Enterleist, Alonso at the moment, he just stuck up the wall. He did everything he could to stop Lewis Hamilton getting through because he knew how important it was to the team. He obviously wanted to keep his position as well, but to then give Esteban the win. And amazing scenes as well, seeing Alonso just standing there waiting, clapping, sort of enjoying the moment with Esteban, who was clearly buzzing, and it was a really sort of heart-warming moment to see. Right, Social Media Team Championship time now, and it's more of a oh, that's a lovely tweet to read, rather than pure banter this week, because I feel like, of course, with Ocon winning and so on, it's just lovely. And of course, we haven't even really mentioned Williams getting double points, which was just amazing. Of course, George did that team radio that I mentioned. But yeah, you've probably got a good idea who are the top three. In third position, we have Mercedes-AMG F1 with Always Knew You'd Go Far, kid. Feel good. You know, you just kind of get that warm, fuzzy feeling. It's lovely. So well done, Mercedes. You get 1 point. In second place, we have Haas F1 team, P1 Ocon, P2 Vettel, P3 Latifi. You can see the gif. It's, yeah, I think that pretty much summed up everybody, especially people, for whatever reason, that missed the first few laps of the race. If you're that kind of person, I can't relate. I cannot miss the start of a race, but most of us were feeling that way anyway. And the winners of the Social Media Team Championship are Williams Racing. We've done it! Williams have scored double points at the Hungaroring. Not just 1 driver scoring points, 2. And Latifi beat Russell. I mean, you would never have expected that. Latifi just, I'll have some more points than you, George, but still, double points finish. Well done, Williams. You get maximum points. That's 1 point for Mercedes-AMG F1, 2 points for Haas F1, and 3 points for Williams Racing.
And now it's time for Race Rundown with your host, Matthew Gallagher.
Right, let's do race rundown time now, and it's actually split reasonably evenly, so I should be able to do this because there's been, 60 NFs, so this should be very interesting. Let's do this. The finishers of... can't believe I'm saying Ocon as the first person. The finishers of the Hungarian Grand Prix were Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Tsunoda, Latifi, Russell. God, I was so close. In my head, I was like, Matt, you're going to do this. There's only 14. Just slap it out. But I didn't. Ocon, Vettel. It's just weird, isn't it? It's just weird saying Ocon, Vettel as your first two. Anyway, Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz. Honestly, every time in here, it gets so hot when I'm filming. Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Tsunoda, Latifi, Russell, Verstappen, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Schumacher. Oh, God! Here we go again. Let's try one more. Come on. Do it for Ocon. Okay, I'm doing it for Ocon. Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly. Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Tsunoda, Latifi, Russell. I just lose concentration halfway through because I'm like, oh, by the way, do you remember Esteban Ocon won the race? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I forget that I'm reading. Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso. Ocon, Vettel, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Tsunoda, Latifi, Russell, Verstappen, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Schumacher, Giovinazzi. Lovely. Done. Boom. And the non-finishers were Mazepin, Norris. Oh, so many. Mazepin, Norris, Perez. Mazepin, Norris, Perez. I'm going to do it the other way. Stroll, Leclerc, Bottas, Perez, Norris, Mazepin. There you go. Lovely. Done it. Boom. Out the park. Right, that is it. We are done here for the internet's best reactions to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Take a deep breath. I'm sorry if I missed your submissions. I know there were so many. Like, we were trending on Twitter. Hashtag WTF1, which is just ridiculous. Of course, if you want to get involved next time, which is the Belgian Grand Prix at the end of August, I know, a big long wait, but don't worry, we'll keep you entertained on this WTF1 YouTube channel and on our social media. So please do subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any videos. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy the break without F1. I will not be enjoying it at all. And I'll miss you lot very much because I love doing this series. Anyway, leave a like as well if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in like a month. Bye!